that Salim Kidwai and Ruth Venita talked about in their book Ancient Indian Materials, and indicating a bond of friendship that goes beyond marriage and procreation and is socially accepted and admired as well. The Mahabharata, the great Indian epic, has several other examples of same sex attachments that are not only approved of but are admired by the society. Further, in order to avoid contradiction with the established gendered norms, Indian literature also displays examples where a trope is utilized for legitimizing the same-sex relationships. For instance, in Bengali literature, Krittivas Ramayana attributes the birth of Bhagirath to the sexual union of two females, although the divine sanction of the god Shankara, here the same-sex union is approved of and is legitimized, but only through divine intervention. The divine intervention acts, this is very much like a trope. Another trope is the same-sex change that happens many a times in the Indian mythological tales. The gender fluidity also brings about the gender ambiguity, and therefore a deity might appear in any form, male or female, or even a transgender, and also in a non-human form. Further, in Bhagavata Purana, Vishnu takes the form of the enchantress Mohini in order to trick the demons into giving up Amrita, the elixir of life. Now, Shiva later becomes attracted to Mohini and spills his semen on the rocks, which turn into gold. And Vishnu's courtship with Shiva results in the birth of Ayappa, who is born in the union of two men, basically a result of homoeroticism. Now, but this instance falls into the territory of divinity and hence is approved of Ayappa sprang from Shiva's semen, which he ejaculated upon embracing Mohini. Now, therefore, Ismail masterpiece called Fire, and Firag Gokulpuri, the an eminent Urdu writer, was known to be fond of men. And among Hindi poets, references to homosexuality figure in the works as a woman would. Now, the Kama Sutra is the traditional source of Indian sexuality, Vatsayanas. The lesbian is called Saivrini, and it contains 4 or 5 ways in which one woman can seduce another. It is also mentioned that positive and is thrown simply out of his swimming group. His once loving parents threw him out, and only solace he finds in his elder sister and male partner Nigel, who stands who stood by him throughout his struggle during the crisis. Zoya Akhtar's Shilaki Javani is moving comment on gender stereotyping within families where sons, even when they are young, are forced by fathers to about homosexuality, but it is about a boy who is naturally inclined to dance like Katrina Kaif. Now is neither now now is neither physically strong nor is interested in cricket or football, but his father wants him to play football. It reminds us of RG in Sam Salvador's Funny Boy. And films that have got the thumbs up from the LGBTQ plus community are Honeymoon Travels Private Limited, Rules, PR Cup Super Hit Formula. The more recent, I Am by Again Onir, which won the National Award of us. Now, Hanshal Mehta's Aligarh, that movie offers us some clues in responding to the question critically and almost universally acclaimed for its sensitive portrayal of Ramchandra Siras, the Marathi poet and professor at Aligarh Muslim University. Aligarh depicts the events of the last few months of his life leading up to his mysterious death, according to the policeman and the official authority. Now, the film begins with the primal scene of violation when Cyrus brings his lover, the rickshaw puller Irfan, up to this apartment. The camera simply remains still and shooting the outside of the apartment without any cuts or edits for a while, disabling any scope. Now, I think that shows almost a surveillance that state puts us under. The cinematic gaze, the surveillance, something that Laura Mulvey has called male gaze, the voyeuristic fetish. To conclude, significantly despite its investment in the preservation of privacy against government intrusion, Aligarh's narrative remains relatively uninterested in a representation of intimacy between Cyrus and Irfan. The rickshaw puller referred to in the court simply that lower class Muslim, almost a lower class Muslim, a subaltern, ultimately remains a film's absent presence. The Delhi High Court decriminalized homosexuality and thus overturned the criminal law that defined same-sex relationships activity unnatural offense. Now, this is my conclusion. So the movies like Anir's movie or Aligarh, or even recently Ek Ladki Ko Dekha To Aisa Laga, or even for that matter Subh Mangal Jyaada Sabdhan, more recently, these movies are not interesting. They are not doing something extraordinary. What they are basically doing, they are reclaiming the past that India always had before the British came, before the Mughals came. Because India, as you can see the pride flag march behind me, has always already been queer, even before the colonizers set foot in our country. And the film and literature, the relationship has to be a very good marriage relationship, but there are at times divorce is also on the offing. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Rajat ji, for a wonderful presentation. And the selection of the topic is also very interesting. Congratulations once again.
Thank you.
Very best of luck for ahead. Now the next paper presenter.